Hello Sachem, welcome to this week's edition of the Sachem Patch Coaches Corner. I'm here with Dave Falco in the locker room at Sachem North. I want to talk about the Floyd game, a big win over the Colonials, 40-6. One thing I wanted to get out of the way first, after the game, Paul Longo, William Floyd's head coach, spoke to one of the Sachem Patch reporters, and basically in regards to the final touchdown that was scored by Michael Andriassi in the fourth quarter. I wanted to see what your thoughts were about scoring that late in the game while being up already by a bunch of points, Coach.
Well, I think the first thing is that I don't think it was appropriate for Coach Longo to speak to reporters about a coaching issue. It's not something that I would do. But in regards to the final score, I'm not sure that Coach Longo understands our situation regarding kids that play down in the JV, our injury situation. It was not our intention to score. It was a miscommunication. I take full responsibility for it, and I think I'll just leave it at that.
And as far as the game itself, I was expecting Sachem to win. Sachem Patch will always pick Sachem as the victor every single week. But 40-6 is a big win over a very good program. And I don't know how many people would have thought that you would have won by 34 points, but you did, and you dominated. Talk about the win and the positives from it.
High school football games are interesting. They can turn on a dime. The emotions can turn on a dime. When you have the kickoff return, the long run by Dalton, the fumble recovery for a touchdown by Jesse, I think it set the tone early. But again, if you take those things away and you look at it from an X and O point of view, from an execution point of view, the game was a lot closer than it looked. Floyd is a solid team. They're young in a lot of spots. But that's a team that would be definitely dangerous if we saw them in the playoffs, without a doubt.
The first quarter alone, you mentioned a bunch of the big plays. You had the fumble recovery. Jesse ran back for 37 yards. He blasted through the middle for a big touchdown later on. Dalton with the kick return, as you mentioned it. I don't know if you could have scripted a more exciting first quarter on a game that was televised across the tri-state area with so much surrounding it, with the revenge coming back from losing the championship last year to Floyd. What was that like emotionally to get up that much that early in the game?
You know, I think I told our coaches all week that I thought our kids were extremely loose. They were excited about playing in the game, but they didn't seem nervous. And I think when you have senior kids with a lot of experience that can play that loose, and then things go so well for you early, it's an amazing ride. And I was looking around saying to myself, is this really happening this fast for us? You know, going back and look at the film, there were a lot of things that we did not do correctly that we're still working on. And I think Paul can say the same thing about Floyd. You know, if they would have done A, B, and C, maybe the game would have been different. So like I said, if we see this team again in the playoffs, which is a very good chance that we could, I think it would be a different type of game. I think our kids would need to be ready for that. Playoff games are different. But it was a great ride, without a doubt.
Not that Jesse Scanlon needed more recognition or more proof that he's one of the top players on Long Island, but to score 3 touchdowns, one by fumble recovery, one by a catch that he grabbed the ball out of Stacey Bedell's hands, and then one for 81 yards up the gut. I think that was validation that he is the best all-around football player, at least in Suffolk County.
You know, being Jesse's coach, I would definitely have to agree with you. He's a phenomenal player who has worked extremely hard. We've said this over and over again. He's the heart and soul of our team, and as he goes, we go. If you take each one of those plays individually, the touchdown run, it always amazes me, Jesse's ability to pull away from very athletic kids, and I think that surprises a lot of people. His size, his strength, but when he can pull away from people like that, it's impressive. You know, he was in an opportune spot, a fumble caused by Mike Andriassi and the 10 other guys that were pursuing to the ball. You know, he got lucky there. You know, good players get lucky and are in the right spot at the right time. And the catch that he made by Bedell was not a good read by us in regards to an X and O situation. Bone was open going down the middle. But when you put the ball, you know, in the area of good players, they usually make good plays, and that was an amazing play.
Shifting gears a little bit, there's been some chatter around the community, always comparing head coaches in Sachem's history. The head coach in Sachem history is Fred Pissarro. Everything he's done for the program, football and athletics as a whole, is incomparable. Nobody could ever amount to what Fred Pissarro meant to Sachem and Long Island. You know, when people compare him to you, how does that make you feel?
Well, first of all, it makes me feel embarrassed because without a doubt, Coach Pissarro is the best football coach in the history of the Sachem football program. Without him, we wouldn't have what you see here. It was a very difficult challenge trying to replace Fred, and I always said I'm not trying to replace Fred, I'm trying to continue on what Fred established. And a lot of the things and the beliefs that we have and the things that we do are based on what Fred did. So for those discussions to be taking place, me personally, I think it's inappropriate.
I agree. I think that you're a humble guy when it comes to Sachem football. We all understand what Fred Pissarro meant to the program, and that's never going to go anywhere. The field is named after him for a reason. he has 192 wins and ranks in the top 5 in Suffolk history for a reason. And if you can get up to 192 career wins, that'd be a great thing one day, but I don't know.
For somebody to put in 32 years, and then for people to try to compare to somebody that's put in 8 as a head coach, and, it's not comparable. And I would never make that comparison. Fred is a father figure to me, and quite frankly, when those people say those things, it's embarrassing.
And jumping to this week, week 7, the final home game in the regular season, you're going to host Longwood, who historically against Sachem, we've had some good regular season and playoff games against the Lions. They're the only other team in Division I to beat Floyd this year. How do you match up against them? What do you like on film?
Longwood is probably the best team that we will see today. Their offensive line is tremendous. Their running backs are hard-hitting and explosive type players. They give you just enough offensively that you can't really load up on the run. This is going to be a huge challenge for us. Defensively, they're big, they're aggressive, they load up the box to try to stop the run. So listen, this is going to be a great challenge for us. Our kids are aware of it. We're going to have to show up and play. They're going to bring their A game. I'm assuming that we're going to bring ours like we've done for the last 6 weeks. But week 7 here is definitely going to be a challenge for us. Without a doubt.
You can watch the coverage live on our in-game blog on Sachem Patch. And remember, Sachem Patch is your exclusive home for Sachem football coverage. We'll have a game story, photo gallery, and video highlight reel after the game late on Friday night. And remember, as always, stay classy, Sachem.